Hey, thank you. Sorry if that's not how you pronounce your name. We're going to go and break down your backside 360 and frontside 360. Let's start with the backside 360 because it's fewer clips, and we'll see where we can improve here. So let's start with the takeoff. I'm just going to look at this frame by frame. Oh, let me move me out of the screen. So you're coming in. Let me see your setup carve. So immediately your setup car is a little bit too early. See how you're getting onto your toe edge before the upward slope of a jump? This is going to make it really hard to hold that stacked toe side setup position. So what you want to do is your setup carve just a little bit later because you want to be getting onto your toe edge for the first time around here. So notice how you're like already leaning forward. That's why we delay the takeoff, because that's going to make it so you can have this taller form. This taller form like right here coming up the transition, and it'll just make it easier to hold the position, because that's why you're getting that lean the whole way down. So you can go and minimize that by delaying your setup carve. Oh, well, there's a few more things that are causing this leaning over right here. So a lot of it's coming from just how you're going and like putting your back arm. You're over winding up basically. So you're going and pulling it in your back arm like this, and it's going and crouching you down. For a back free, you really don't need that much wind up. So it's more important for you to focus on a nice slow setup carve, stay calm, stay straight and tall. That's going to let you get that clean pop off the end, because you don't need to wind up and snap a back free. Instead, a back free should be more like a straight air where you're trying to pop up, look under, and let your upper body lead the rotation. We'll talk about that a little bit more further down the line. So yeah, that's just like too much bend down, too much power, too much snap. And then the other thing that this causes, and it's going to cause this pretty much every single time when you go and rush that setup carve, is pre-spin and a two-footed jump. So notice how you're jumping up with your whole body here, and that's causing you to pre-spin off a jump with both feet rising up. This is why one of the reasons you're not getting much control off the takeoff, because when you go and jump before the jump's ready, it's going to make it so you're going and not getting that lift, you're not getting that upward momentum, and nothing's like giving you control and stability in the air. So you just need to, when you're doing back frees, it's more important, instead of focusing on the pop up, to focus on just making sure that board's making contact with the snow the whole time. The board popping up isn't going to give you too much more height. You'll get way more height by just being patient and riding off that tail. So go minimize the setup carve. Don't squat down as much. You want just a very, very slight bend in your knees. Literally, you're just trying to be in your stack position here. You don't want to be actually squatting down to jump, because that's going to cause you to lean forward, but does not work on a backside spin. And then that's going to make it easier to time. And then the next thing is you want to be going off the takeoff straight, but letting your upper body sort of lead gently. So right now you're going off straight, and when you're going and connecting everything, notice how like you went and overextended your upper body, trying to catch up with your legs, and that's what's causing your upper body to be behind in a rotation. So that just means your upper body here is pointing back down towards the takeoff of the jump. What isn't what you want to be doing. You want your upper body to always be leading the rotation. So since you're going and doing such a big wind up, pop, and snap, that's causing your upper body to drag behind a little bit, and that's going to go and make it so you're a lot less controlled in the air. So we can really see it right here, where you're going and having your upper body over here, and your legs are more rotated. So that's the opposite of a position we're trying to get. I'll show you how to go and change that in a little bit. So considering that you go and save it pretty good, but you're using like counter rotation to speed up the rotation instead of like finish it, it makes it hard to land. And you're only hitting the knuckle here because you went and like didn't get the full pop off the takeoff. So there's a lot of things there that are like close, but let me just go and recap what we need to change, and then we'll jump into the front freeze. So right now you're going off a takeoff, you're like this, super crunch down, popping so hard that you get disconnected. You need to reshift, and then you're here, and then you need to pull it over, and that's what's causing you to become tail heavy. What I want you to do on your back freeze instead is go in, tall, slight bend in the legs, just enough weight to get on the balls of your feet, delay your setup carve, stay tall, snap off your tail, let that upper body continually in rotation as your legs somewhat drag behind. And that will give you the control to finish the rotation with counter rotation if you need. It'll look something like this in full motion. Wind up, snap, off the tail, leading with upper body, finish. So that's very different from going down, squatting, popping, twisting and trying to get it around like that. And even that, like your upper body's behind, but basically you're trying to get that nice pop off the tail where you go and lead with your upper body, letting you go spot. Honestly, letting you spot the knuckle around 90, so then you can go and pop around. Where you were going and rotating and you were blind up, back up and take off at like 180, making it so that you like whip around. Where if you just go and think about it like this, I'm going to show you 2 ways to do a back three really quick. You can do it all connected, tight, what's like a lot of work, hard to time, you don't get much control, or you can slow down the motion and let your upper body lead and finish it with counter rotation. So I want you to be doing that second one and applying that to your backside spins. All right, now let's go and tackle the front side. All right, so we have front three videos here, so we'll go through them all. You just want this one more consistent. All right, we'll go the same way, take off first and break it down from there. So you're coming in. I like the setup carve, that's good, nice and patient. I wouldn't change that. Again, a lot of squat down, so see how your butt's almost completely flat, like you're in a deep squat. You're like where you'd be maxing out on a squat. You don't need that much bend in your legs. That pop isn't going to give you any extra air time, so just make sure you're taller in the torso, taller in the legs. You don't need to be leaned back as much, because what's happening now is you're coming in, and look, you're leaving off a takeoff really bent, making it so you need to do a very fast extension. And that fast extension isn't doing anything for you because you're hitting the G's of a jump. And that's why you're not getting that nice pop off the jump, because you're going and just too bent down and the jump's G'ing you out. Instead of getting that nice pop with it, you're going through it. And we can see that right here. So see how you're flat and then you go straight through the jump. Instead, if you're more tall, popping, snapping off that tail with a little bit less leg, it's going to give you more tail snap. It's going to put you more up in the air, what's really important on front side free. Next, let's check snap position. So the thing I really like here is your spotting. You're doing a really good job spotting the knuckle and then tracking it. The one thing I'd change about it though is what's going to need to be changed with your takeoff. But right now your takeoff is just also a little bit caught up because it's like timed with this really big pop. It's making it so you're like fully snapped before your like motions fully leaved off. So see here how you have like a couple of frames where your upper body isn't moving. What I want is like a taller, straighter body. So when you pop off, your upper body can continue the rotation. And then you need to combine that with going and having your spot more forward. So right now you're spotting back at the takeoff of the jump, but you really want your spot to be forward because that's where you're going to be traveling to. So every time you do a front three, your spot should be at the knuckle. This it would have been really hard to do it on because you're going and clipping the knuckle a bit, but still you're traveling far enough that it would have been good and proper. So that's why you're landing in this position with your upper body super leaned forward back this way. It's because your spot point was all the way back at the jump, so you don't actually like see where you were going. But by changing your spot point to the top of the knuckle, that will make it so when you pass it, you can go and keep your spot more down, more stacked, and not be bent over. Because right now you're only doing this little bit of a slip out. You're only doing this little bit of a slip out because you're bent over. So you're saving it. It's still counter-rotated, but if you get a really big impact when you're that crouched over, that way on the spine, it's just not good. You want to be a bit more stacked, a little more vertical. And the best way to do that is treating the cause, and that's spotting more towards the knuckle. All right, this is one of your more common mistakes. Still not bad. You're going in front and landing, and you're really good at digging the toes, what's going to make things a lot more forgiving. So this one, your problem isn't you're spinning too early again. It's that you're too crouched down. Look at how squat down you are. You want to be like almost straight-legged, honestly, just a slight bend. You can bend a bit more, but it really isn't doing you much because especially here, notice how you're leaving the takeoff with bending your legs still. So I'd say this is your biggest problem here. You're going and taking off with bending your legs, but it's not giving you the pop, not giving you the fluid motion, and that's going to make you go a little haywire. So if that's your most common mistake, and I've been seeing you overbend your legs in the other clips, I'd say your biggest mistake on the takeoffs here is just bending your legs. Let's go and look at it and see if there's anything else. Yeah, so bending the legs, and then the last thing would be watch your back arm here. Your back arm goes and is taking off, and then it's holding the same position for a lot of frames. This just means that you're not going in like continued rotation with your upper body. Here, it doesn't matter as much because you got G'd out and sort of got popped with too much spin. But that's because you're like going and needing to do such an aggressive motion. And the reason why you're needing to do that aggressive motion is because you're not fully letting your upper body lead. With a front free, it's not really about power. You're not trying to snap a bunch. You're just trying to pop up, put your upper body in a rotating position, eyes up the knuckle, and then try to continue that rotation. You don't actually need like a full-on snap spin. It's just, you can use counter rotation to finish it, especially if your spot is right. And here, we can also see that your spot is still not quite at the knuckle. Right here, your spot's down over this way. And then once you start passing, you're coming in, and your spot is sort of pointed over here, where your spot really should be here, and your rotation should be slightly delayed. So, yeah, that's just, I'd say, yeah, you could count that as rushing off a takeoff, but mostly just think about that bending of the legs and trying to get a more fluid motion. But great job digging in the toes. That's a really good skill to have. And now here's one of your better front frees, so let's go and check it out. Also, can I turn up the setting of these? If so, I apologize that I didn't do it before. No, we're good. We'll try 360. All right, 1 second. So, really big windup. Notice how you're going and doing a massive windup as soon as you're hitting the heels. Too much of a windup. You don't need that much juice on a front free. When you're going and popping, big bend of the legs, too low down, massive snap. This one is nice because your snap's actually like lifting you up. So see how your arms are sort of coming up. You don't want them to come up that much, but that's the general idea. You're trying to go up off your tail because that's going to give you so much more control in the air. So that is looking good, but notice how you're going and your board's pushing down off a takeoff here. Down skis. That's because you're having that bend in your legs, so it's not actually letting you ride off your tail because you're like sort of absorbing it then extending. So what's happening right now is you're absorbing, extending, and that's why you're not getting the pop and you're needing to generate a lot more power than normal. Head position looks about the same, so maybe a little bit better. Digging in the toes. And the reason why you're like clipping the knuckle and like coming short every time is because you're going and having your legs too bent so you're not fully using the jump. Speed isn't the issue here, it's just this bent leg position. But overall, you have a lot of principles in place. You definitely need to work on this leg bending, a more fluid motion for upper body, doing less, and spotting towards the knuckle. If you go and make those changes, it's going to make the front free way more fun, way more control. If you want to bear with me for a sec, let me see if I have a back. Let me see if I have a 360 in my downloads really quick, and we can go and look at it. Sorry for taking so long. Okay, we have a back free mute grab here. This will be good enough for what I'm trying to show on the backside. So notice here on the backside, I'm doing a slow setup carve. You're doing that on your front side already, so look at your front side setup carve and try apply those principles to the backside. And then look at here, when I'm bent up, I'm a little bit hunched forward. This is honestly more hunched forward than you want to be, but look at how straight my legs are. So I'm hunched forward a little bit, but when I take off, my back is completely straight, my legs are really straight, and I never had much bend in my legs. And then the other thing is I'm leading the rotation of my upper body. Watch the back arm here and the head. So right at 90, boom, spine the knuckle and being able to pull through with that back arm. And that's leading the rotation of the upper body. What's what you want to be doing. So on the backside, change that, going. Oh, and that's why I drifted a little bit because I had that bit of bend. So that's indication that I was making a mistake there. But straighter legs, leading with the upper body, that's going to help you a lot. And I'll just look through quick and see if I have a front free in here. Sorry, I normally have these prepared before. Ha and got one. Sorry about that. Okay, so for the front free, watch how little of the motion I'm doing. I'm coming in, delayed setup carve, switching, and you can see I have a little bit bend in my legs, and I'm offsetting with my upper body, but I'm keeping my legs generally straight, and I have my weight sort of on my back foot. And then watch my upper body motion, super small wind up, and I'm just opening up. But the most important thing here, though, is my upper body's continuing the rotation. It's going and holding it, and I'm finishing with this upper body straight legs, and look at my tail schwapping off a takeoff. So that's all you're missing, is getting that nice pop off the tail. And now watch my head position. Head position, boom, at the knuckle. Going to be a little bit hard to see, but when you come in here, you'll really see it. Head is down. So where your head has been, oh, sorry, marker's not going. Where your head has been back here, my head is boom, right at the knuckle where I'm going over. This is also easier because I have more height, because I got more pop off the tail, and the jump's more kicky. But then I hold my spot on the knuckle the whole way, and that lets me go and land stacked up. So you can see I'm leaned back, but I'm not actually like landing my weight all the way backwards. That lets you go and absorb it a lot easier. So I hope you learned something from this video. If you need more feedback and advice, just submit another video to Video Analysis and we'll sort you out. And keep up the progression. Let me know how it goes, and let me know if these things click for you, or you want me to try rephrase things in another way. Our goal is to improve your riding, so let me know how I can do that for you. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.